So, looking at pictures like this, it implies that you were present when Queen was recording, right?
Yeah.
In the studios from time to time. And
oh yeah.
How was that? So
boring.
Boring.
The same as making videos.
It takes
Boring.
Taking ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You listen to the same thing being done again and again and again.
But I think there was one session that I've been reading in your book. Peter has been writing a book, by the way, which is highly recommended, full of anecdotes and stories. And that was one something that I didn't know, that when Freddie was recording with Michael Jackson back in 1982 or 83, and it was just the three of you in the studio, is that right? So you were with him in Michael Jackson's studio?
There were actually 4 of us in the studio because there was the tape operator.
Yes.
But that was it.
Yeah. And apparently these two didn't get along so well.
Well, no, they got on fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, look, please do not believe everything you read and everything you hear. So much is said because it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
They got on fine. We actually only spent 8 hours recording in the whole period. I mean, it was in one day. We arrived in the afternoon and we left in the evening.
Was it in Michael Jackson's studio?
Yeah,
Neverland?
it was, no, not Neverland, it was the house before, in Sino, where his mother still lives, or she lived. And Michael just wanted, I mean, there's a photograph from 2 years before where you see Freddie and Michael talking. And that's where they came up with the idea that Michael said, I want to do a recording with you. We just have to do it somehow. And it took 2 years because Michael touring, Freddie touring, recording, they always had something else to do. But they actually found one day that they could meet up. So we went there. And basically what happened, they talked and they wanted to do one Michael song, one Freddie song, and one song together. And the Michael song was something called State of Shock, which was almost completed, it just needed the vocals on it, which Freddie did. And both of them were very happy with it. In the end, it was released, but with Mick Jagger singing, because Freddie didn't have time to go for the final mix. So he just wasn't able to do it. The Freddie song was one that he was already working on for the Queen album, There Must Be More to Life Than This. The words weren't completed, nothing. And so the track that they actually recorded was Freddie playing the piano and Michael singing. Freddie gave him the words that he had, and then Michael just ad-libbed to the rest of the song, and they created a song together. In fact, it has been released by Queen, I don't know how many years ago.
2014, a couple of years ago, yeah.
They dug it up and they've made it like a real full duet.
Not their best work, to be honest.
No, but the thing is, if you think that this was just a one-take track,
yeah,
with all three, normally with Queen recording, you would have the keyboard track, you would have Freddie track, you would have Michael track. No, this was all at one microphone with piano and the two voices at the same time.
No
so,
multi-track.
No, because it just wasn't set up for that. Then they wanted to do one song together.
Now comes the interesting part.
The thing is, there was only the tape operator there. So the way Freddie recorded, he would go into the studio, he would have an idea in his head. But he would then get Roger to play a 5-minute bass drum track, just for for 5 minutes, and then Freddie would create the song around it. And Freddie explained this to Michael, and he says, well, yeah, but we haven't got a drummer, we haven't got... follow me, I've got an idea. So we followed him, and we came to a toilet. You open the door, and there's a microphone and everything set up in there, because for Michael, it was the best sound for vocal recordings. You know, with the tiles and everything else, it was just perfect for it. He says, well, now what I can do, I will just sort of keep banging the door. And Freddie says, that's an idea. Phoebe, do it! So there's a track somewhere in the Michael Jackson archives of me banging a toilet door for 5 minutes.
Why hasn't that seen the light of day? I'm dying to hear it.
Well, you said that it wasn't the best work when Queen recorded released
yes, obviously there's much better work. Do you remember how this song sounds? What the words were or anything?
No, it was a track that they called Victory, but it wasn't the Victory that was then released by Michael. It was another track.
Yeah.
But they didn't do very much with it. They got that 5-minute track and they put bits and pieces, but there was no real lyrics. There was
Toilet door was too.
Well, that was the start.
Yeah, exactly.
What else did they need? No, so that one really has been left behind.
Super interesting. So that was working with Freddie, banging the toilet doors, but of course there was friendship as well. This is a picture that I really love, because when I first looked at this, I found it totally intriguing that it could have literally been taken yesterday. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know why. This looks like it could have been taken like some Neukölln park somewhere, right? Yeah. Who are these people in the picture? You are the one on the right here, wearing green.
Yeah,
there's me. Freddie.
There's Freddie.
Do you remember who the other guys are?
Yeah, Thor Arnold, who was very good friends with Freddie. That story is quite interesting, because we were in New York. We were on tour. We'd just done the show in New York. Freddie was in the bars and he met Thor. Thor came back to the hotel with Freddie, and they just got on very, very well. And so we were just talking the next morning, saying, oh, well, you know, today we're off to Philadelphia, we're doing a show there. Yeah, this hotel is nice, but the one in Philadelphia is really good. And fine, we got on the plane, off we went. And later that afternoon, we were in the suite, and there was a phone call from reception that Thor was in the lobby. Could he come up? He just made his own way there, just to go and see the show, just to be with Freddie. And they stayed friends right to the end, right through. The one with the stripy shirt was Freddie's driver. And I should be very thankful to him, because he got me a raise.
Okay.
Because when I started work for Freddie back in 1979, I was getting £6,000 a year. A lot of money in those days. But the thing is also, you have to remember, I wasn't paying any rent, I wasn't paying electricity, I wasn't paying anything. This was basically pocket money. Then Freddie decided he was going to live in New York and spend time in New York, so he needed a driver. And his name was Laurie Anderson. No, I don't know what his real name was, but he was Anderson, so he became Laurie.
We come to that later.
He was only going to be working altogether maybe 3 months in the year, and he was demanding $12,000. And I was with Freddie 24 hours a day, and I was getting £6,000. So Freddie says, well, no, that's not right. I'll give him 12,000, and you can have £12,000.
Oh, wow.
So I got
double the amount.
100% increase.
Wow.
Because of him. John Murphy, he was flight attendant for American Airlines.
Him, right?
Yeah, very, very good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Morrissey is the face in the car. And the one in front was the worst person Freddie ever spent time with.
Oh dear.
Bill Reed. He met him in America on tour and fell for him straight away. And he was so bad for Freddie.
In what way? Can you elaborate?
Well, they were just fighting all the time. Freddie was intelligent. And he liked conversation. He liked to talk with people. He liked to talk. And Bill was from New Jersey and thick as two bricks.
Whatever that means.
No. But he had no real life to talk about or anything. And he would be jealous of anything that Freddie was going to work. He would be jealous. He would be causing arguments all the time. Before the Milton Keynes show,
1982.
he actually bit Freddie between his thumb and forefinger on that flesh there and drew blood. And this was a big show that was being filmed.
Oh dear.
And he did that the night before. They had agreed to do Saturday Night Live, the band. And the night before, Freddie had absolutely no sleep because he was having a screaming argument with Bill. And he had absolutely no voice. And Saturday Night Live was live. There was no recording, no pre-recording, nothing. It was live. And so Freddie and I spent 4 hours in a bathroom at the TV studio, just turned the hot taps on so that there was some steam, and I poured this oil, it was sort of eucalyptus oil, into it so that he could do something. At least he was able to sort of sing. He was not happy because in the audience, he found out, was what's her name? Jennifer, the one who did Dreamgirls originally, the stage show.
Not Jennifer Rush.
No, Jennifer Holiday.
Jennifer Holiday?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
And she was, I mean,
Someone
he was on his feet clapping and cheering when he went to the show. And she was in the audience and he just felt he'd let her down. In Vancouver on tour, the one night that Freddie and I slept in the same bed. It's true. We slept in the same bed. And that was it. Because Bill was in his bedroom and they were arguing, and Freddie walked out of his bedroom door to go into the sitting room, because it was Freddie's bedroom, big sitting room, my bedroom. And he walked into the sitting room and he had bottles thrown at him. Champagne, vodka, any bottles. And Bill was throwing them at Freddie. And Freddie had to pay something like $20,000, $30,000 to repair the walls and everything from where the bottles had hit. And any one of them could have hit him. And when Freddie finally said, okay, fine, it's finished, he sent Bill back to America. He then went to the apartment in New York, and somehow Bill found out. And because, of course, the security at the apartment building knew Bill, he'd been in and out with Freddie so often, they let him up. He said, I want to go and see Freddie. They just let him up.
Mm.
And he was smashing the door down. You know, you have the spyglass thing, he broke that. It was shattered. I mean, the lobby was only for 2 apartments, Freddie's and another one, and the lifts. And he was just destroying it. Because, you know, how could Freddie be in New York and not be with him again?
Mm.
It was sad. It was sad. He was one of the people that Freddie made a wrong decision about.
Mm. I was hearing people saying Paul Prenter earlier, so it's probably the Paul Prenter character that we got in the movie. So it was, I would guess, a mixture of different characters from Freddie's life.
You
right?
have to remember the film. You can only have a certain amount of characters in it.
Mm.
So Paul was the representative bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the band, Barbara was bad for Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
And so
We could talk about her.
Paul was a mixture of Barbara and Paul.
I see.
Because Paul Prenter was not as bad as he's made out to be in the film, in real life. He wasn't good, but he wasn't as bad as the film makes him out to be.
Mm. Mm. It's just another snapshot, I would think. So this looks like a happy gay family, right? Doesn't it? Yeah. Again, one of those pictures that could have been taken yesterday. I have like thousands of pictures like that with my friends. So, and it's the same.
I'm not
the same
seeing
people.
this.
Huh?
I'm not seeing this.
Oh really? But you were in there, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hidden behind. Yeah.
So what goes through your head when you said you haven't seen this for since then? What?
I don't know. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at these pictures and I see myself in them. So obviously, yes, I was there.
Mm.
But this was just, I know it sounds stupid maybe, but this was just my life. This was normal, everyday life. There was, again, Thor and Lee. Lee was probably taking the previous photograph. It would have been Lee.
This is
who
Lee.
was, yeah, Lee Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been taking the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's Thor again with Freddie.
Mm.
And
That's you back there?
yeah, and I don't know who the other two are. I think friends.
We're there for the drinks. Yeah. But these gang of guys, they were referred to as the New York Daughters, weren't
The
they?
Daughters. There was John Murphy, who was in the other photograph. Yes, he's in this photograph as well. And Lee and Thor, those were the New York Daughters. This is another friend. There was another guy, Joe Scardilli, who worked with John Murphy on American Airlines. This was, there he is. I didn't see him. He's there.
There.
That's Joe. Yeah, Joe Scardilli. So those 4 were the daughters.
Who came up with the name?
Freddie,
Remember?
of course. Freddie. He was mother. Again, this is another... he would just do things for friends. We went out, Freddie and I, we went out to Tiffany's one day in New York and bought 6 little pill boxes, you know, to put pills in.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had one for each of the 4 daughters, one for him and one for me. Then what would happen on a Friday, you know, we'd arrange, we were all going to go out. Friday, not usually, but Saturday to Sunday, we would go to the Saint, or whatever, in New York. And on the Friday, I would go down to the village, join a little queue, and a door would open, someone came out and someone would go in. And you went inside and there were 2 tables set up. And you know the work boxes where you can open them up and there's steps? Well, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And in each of the little section were different drugs. So you go from there to the end and pick out what you need, and you pay for it all at the end. But what I had to do was get 4 of everything. No, 6 of everything. And then Freddie, when we would all meet up on the Saturday at his apartment or hotel, wherever we were, and each person would have exactly the same drugs put into the pillboxes. And then the plan was that you had to meet at exact times and take the next drug together so that everybody was in the same mood. Everybody was in the same...
How did that work out?
Very well. Yeah. Very, very well. I mean, the thing is, I would hold the cocaine for everybody anyway, because that wouldn't fit into the pillboxes. Yeah. But that was there. And one thing that we used to do in those days, which there was so much I used to do. No, it's really strange, because apparently...
Wearing hats is one of them.
Oh, yeah. But apparently someone died very recently of doing what we used to do non-stop all the time, was that ethyl chloride, and you spray it onto you had a handkerchief with 4 knots in it, each corner, and you sprayed this stuff on it, and then you put it in your mouth, and so there's 4 of you dancing together, which each person's sucking on. I mean, it's a topical anesthetic. I mean, you spray it on to freeze the skin. So we were basically freezing our lungs, but it was fun. I remember, this was, I mean, now we are talking quite a few years ago now, when someone offered me some ecstasy. And I said, no, thanks very much, but I mean, you don't know what's in it. And then I thought to myself, we didn't know what was in it then, but we did it. What happens to people between the happy-go-lucky days when you're younger and when you actually get a brain and think about what you're doing?
I can imagine that must have been super exhausting as well.
Oh yeah,
if you've been doing that every weekend.
Yeah, but I was young. And it wasn't just weekend. I think maybe because the weekend would start on Thursday and finish on Tuesday.
Of course, we all know that cycle, don't we?
And the thing is, I used to be able to do it all the time. I could go out every single night. And you'd wake up in the morning and say, oh, never again. And then you're ready at 7 o'clock in the evening to go and do it.
And Freddie was still able to record music and write stuff and do concerts and stuff like that. Right?
This is the thing, though. He was very, very strict. I mean, when he was doing shows, for example, he would not drink or do drugs before a show because he needed to be 100% in control to know exactly what his voice was able to do. Then during the course of the show, then he would start drinking beers and things. But the drugs would not appear until in the dressing room afterwards. He was very strict with that.